In this clip, we'll cover the first 3 steps of the Tennessee Evidence Framework. This and the discussion about evidence are foundational for completing the evidence and impact section of the annual evidence-based budgeting forms. This is the Tennessee Evidence Framework, developed with the consultation and support of Pew's National Results First initiative and a team of research experts in Tennessee. It is designed to standardize the language we use to classify programs in Tennessee based on the level of available evidence supporting each program. In this model, 5 evidence steps build from left to right. Even if it's not documented, every program has a logic model or theory of action. Often we refer to the distilled version of this as an if-then statement. So if we do X, Y, and Z, then we expect to see A, B, and C. Outputs are process measures, which are often collected and used to support continuous improvement. They are usually part of a performance management process or a project plan. Outcomes are impact statements, or the program's measures and related data that demonstrate change in participants and/or systems over time. Evaluation and causal evidence indicate that the program is supported by at least one rigorous evaluation. The arrows above the steps push us left to right, up the steps toward rigorous evaluation. Note that the expectation is set at green, or outcomes, because we acknowledge that it may not be appropriate, ethical, or otherwise possible to conduct a rigorous evaluation for some programs. We also know that conducting these studies can require significant time and resource investment. However, the expectation is that all programs are operating with a foundation of solid logic, collecting process data, and measuring outcomes. Let's look closer at these first 3 evidence steps. Logic models are often required for federal grants or other financial awards and can be helpful during program planning and implementation. They can take various forms with varying levels of depth, but they always include 5 key elements: program context, inputs, activities, outputs, and outcomes. For the purposes of the evidence-based budgeting form, only a high-level if-then statement will be required. This high-level statement documents the logical progression of the project from its inputs to its outcomes. To write a concise if-then statement that covers the overall program vision, consider breaking the model into process and outcomes elements. For example, if we complete these activities, then these short-term or mid-term outcomes will result in these long-term outcomes. Every program will have implicit logic. If it doesn't already exist on paper, it may be necessary to draft an if-then statement to include in any cost increase or reduction form. Outputs are the concrete, countable results of the activities. Often these are products or services that can be measured in tangible terms, like dollars spent, number of children placed, number of trainings delivered, or a college acceptance rate. These measurements should be specific to the program, and for existing programs, outputs should reflect data that is currently being collected. These will often be part of existing program management systems or project plans within your agency. The evidence-based budgeting forms will ask for the 3 to 5 outputs that give the best immediate insight into the program for those who are unfamiliar. Outcomes are the impact of the program on participants or recipients in a particular direction over a specified period of time. They can be identified in terms of short, mid, and long-term changes. One way to think about this is that the short-term outcomes demonstrate how an individual benefits over time, whereas long-term outcomes demonstrate how a program produces organizational or system-level changes over time. It's important to distinguish between goals, which are aspirational and future-looking, versus outcomes as defined here, which are past and present-looking. They are a measurement of what is happening or what has happened. The evidence-based budgeting forms will ask for up to 3 outcomes and data if available.